Hey, in this video we are talking about no-till gardening and using our chickens to actually till up the garden space for us so that we don't disturb the soil as much. And we're going to go through the process kind of from start to finish. I guess you could say kind of finish, where we're not going to actually get our planting in, but we'll show how the garden actually looks right before we plant. But we're going to show what the girls do, how we set that all up so that you can do it yourself. So today is chicken moving day. We are prepping the girls right here. We are prepping them are getting our garden spot prepped. So we're going to move them into our garden spot and let them till the ground and eat some bugs and fertilize it, all of that. So I'm one-handed moving the girls. Sometimes you hit a rut. One-handed moving the girls because my wife is putting the fence up. But they were all the way out there, and now they are all the way over here. All right, so we moved the girls from out there in the pasture to over here closer to the house and near the creek. And a while back, the wind had blown the top of the coop off and damaged some of the wood. So we had to just secure that with some screws. So we're gonna go ahead and fix that now. And the girls, it's kind of funny, they're reacting kind of interesting because there's no lid on their coop. Okay, so the girls have been out here for about 2 days. It rained really heavily yesterday and just made this very muddy. But we are doing a no-till garden, so we're not going to be tilling this. The girls are tilling it for us. So you can see they're scratching, they're doing their thing, and they're getting rid of this grass because we're going to put compost down and mulch and start planting. Normally the grass they would be on is going to be very lush, very green like this. I mean, you can see the difference between what they're on and this over here. But again, they're helping us to make that garden, so they're doing all the work for us. Another thing is we also move the coop every day, so that they're not pooping all in the same spot the whole time. So we're moving that around, and that's going to help with the soil and all the good things like that. Good job. They are bringing our topsoil or man-made compost out here. So we got a tarp set up, and that's going to blow away a little bit. This might be our truck coming. But anyways, if you're going to get something like this dumped, I'd recommend putting a tarp or something like that out there because it makes it easier to not lose a bunch of your stuff. You're not having to like dig into the dirt to find it when you're you know, on that last little bit. And here's our compost. Look at that.
Okay, the time has come. We moved the chickens primarily off of the garden space, and we are starting to cover it over with our paper, and then we will make rows and fill in with compost or wood chips in the path. Okay, so what did I do? Well, I and a couple of kids put contractor's paper over this area that we moved the chickens off of. This isn't all the garden, we're gonna have a little bit more. And I didn't want to wait because as soon as the chickens were off of it, the grass that was left could start regrowing. So we went ahead and papered it over. Lots of big rocks out of the creek to hold it down. I did try wetting it down, but that dried up really fast, so I kind of gave up on that. Also, before I started, I made sure to measure out my edges and make sure they were square. My other stake is right there. You do that by measuring the hypotenuse, Pythagorean theorem. I'm a nerd, I know it, I'm okay with it. Okay, so if you are trying to make a garden that is going to have parallel rows, you need to make sure that your garden has right angles. Otherwise, your rows will either be crooked or will get scrunched together or something like that. So how you do that, there's a couple different ways. I referenced Pythagorean theorem in the video, which is mathy, but contractors simplify this by using something called the 3-4-5 rule. Basically, you take one length of your garden from the corner and you measure out 3 feet. and then on the opposing side you measure out 4 feet. And if the length between those two is 5 feet, then you have a right angle. If it's more than 5 feet, your angle is too wide and you need to narrow it down. If it's less than 5 feet, your angle is too narrow and you need to widen it out. Once the whole garden is squared up like that, then you can go ahead and stake out your rows. I chose to do 30-inch rows, 30-inch in width, and 1-foot walking paths in between.
All right, so we are almost done. We're going to put some more cardboard down here on the sides and then mulch that, and then top off some little spots we have here and there compost wise. And overall, we're pretty happy with what the girls did. We'll probably do this again as long as everything winds up growing well, but you can see depth wise we've got a good solid depth on the soil and or on the compost, and I think that will probably turn out pretty well. So if you have any questions, comments, leave those below. We'll try to answer those, and I guess ultimately the proof is in the pudding. We'll see how well things grow.